Crimson Trace offers a free Batteries for Life program that includes nearly all laser sights, electronic sights, and rifle scopes. Just register your product for a free set of batteries each year at crimsontrace.com.
Today on Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, it's time to get serious about your training, even if you can't travel to a school or course anytime soon. Plus, the Truth Squad in action, a new rebate you won't want to miss, and more. As always, call 866-TALK-GUN with your comments, questions, and range reports. And now, here's Tom.
All righty, welcome again. I'm Tom Gresham. It's Gun Talk. It's crazy times out there. I mean, there are some deals out there that we're going to be talking about a little bit later on. I mean, at a certain point, you're looking at it and going, okay, they're selling guns so cheap, I don't even need that, and I think I might have to buy it just to stick it on the shelf. Good guns, crazy stuff. We'll tell you about those deals. Of course, we're giving away things. We'll talk about that in just a minute. We have an incredible giveaway going on. Let's see. Came up with an idea. Sometimes I get involved in these conversations online, debates, arguments, if you will, and people say, why are you bothering with that? Well, you know what? It's like going in the ring and shadow boxing or sparring. You get better at it. It helps you develop your thoughts, your arguments when you are exchanging ideas with somebody who's arguing with you. Assuming, of course, you can find somebody who will do it on an intellectually honest basis. It helps you sharpen your presentation. Kind of came up with some ideas about that. We'll talk about that as we go along. Also, just got a new holster. Weird, different, just learned something. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes, actually. An awful lot of things going on for us to talk about. And, of course, things in the news. We've got a great Truth Squad report of one of our Truth Squad members who actually got a business to take down its no gun sign. Yeah. And some successes out there on the gun rights front. And, of course, we have the major case headed for the Supreme Court. This is going to be big. I feel good about this one. I mean, you never know for sure, but I feel good about this, and we'll talk about that as well. First, it is a real pleasure to bring in one of our true friends, one of the top trainers in the country, and if you will, I mean, he is a true student of self-defense, self-defense with everything. Tiger McKee joins us right now from Shootrite Firearms Academy. Tiger, how are you, my friend?
Good afternoon, sir. I am doing fantastic today. The weather finally cooled off here some, and you know what I'm talking about. So it's actually like fall, which makes me feel happy. Yeah,
now you get out there and you're not like just sweating through all your clothes when you're out on the range. It's just a better time of year.
Yes, it is, for sure.
All right, for those who don't know, Shootrite Academy is located close to Guntersville, Alabama. You've been there, was it 25 years doing this now?
Well, we've been in business. This is our 25th anniversary this year. We've been in this location about 15 years now.
Wow. And I see that you announced that you're making some changes to what you're doing. You might just, for those who aren't getting your newsletter, although they should, and it should be on your email list, explain what's going on.
Well, what we're doing is downsizing a little bit and increasing in other areas. I'll do some custom knife work and build some Smith & Wesson revolvers. And that started out as a hobby that I just enjoyed, and then it kind of grew into, okay, I'm going to get a little bit deeper in this and pursue that a little more. So to make room for that, I'm cutting back a little bit on the instruction. Like this summer cured me of teaching when it's like 115 to 120 on the range, right?
You think maybe you ought to be doing something inside, like making knives and building revolvers and things, right?
Exactly. And this is also my 60th birthday this year. And, you know, this stuff takes a toll on your body. And Gretchen kind of wants me to back off a little bit before I get too broken up.
Well, you know, I know what you mean. You start building these knives, you start doing these projects, and it's just a hobby. You're doing it for yourself. And then all your friends say, well, could you do one of those for me? How much would you charge me to do that? And then you suddenly wake up and go, wait a minute. People will actually pay me to do this. Maybe I ought to do it a little bit more.
You know, it's always cool when you get a hobby that makes money, because most of them just suck money away, right? So it's really good when you can figure out something you love to do and make money.
All right, let me ask you, because, I mean, you're known as, I mean, you wrote the book, literally wrote the book of Two Guns, the 1911 and the AR-15 and how to fight with it, and it's wonderful, and it actually, for those who don't know, applies to every kind of handgun, and it's basically fighting concepts and how to fight and how to win. But revolvers? How did you get into that?
Well, I started out shooting, when you're younger, you start out shooting revolvers, at least we did, right? 22 revolvers.
Right.
And then you graduate up to the larger caliber. So I grew up with revolvers. And then I got on sort of the Jeff, when I started training and looking at this stuff seriously, I got trained with Jeff Cooper, and I was like, okay, 1911. And I worked with the 1911 for a long time, and I love them, for sure. But the more I looked into it and the more I talked to older guys with much more experience than I'll ever have, the revolver for self-defense, which we're talking about not taking down a squad of assassins, somebody's trying to hurt you and your family, you're trying to keep them from doing that, it's probably going to be close quarters. Revolvers are almost like the best defensive for self-defense weapon, I think.
Interesting. All right, explain, because there are going to be people who are going, that's just heresy. What are you talking about? It's all people who've grown up in the plastic pistol world have no idea what you're talking about. Explain why, or what the benefits of a revolver might be.
Okay, one benefit is in caliber. And people go, well, law enforcement got away from the 38 and all this stuff, but you got to keep in mind back then they were shooting full metal jacket ammo.
Yeah, or just round nose.
Which doesn't really matter what caliber you're using, right?
Or
it just puts a hole through there.
A lot of times they were shooting round nose lead bullets is what they had.
Yes, sir. And that's not an effective round. With the ammunition that we have now, which has made great leaps and bounds, right? The 38 Special plus P 357, those are all excellent rounds for self-defense, so caliber. And then we know that a lot of this stuff is going to be extremely close quarters. I mean, they may be trying to wrestle you to the ground, take physical control of you. Semi-auto, if it's like that and the slide gets pushed against their body, it's out of battery. It's not going to fire. That revolver, I can kind of index it against their body, and feed it to them from there.
Basically, you can push the muzzle right into them and keep shooting. And the other thing is with a revolver, I know this sounds goofy to people who may not have thought about this, but if you're wrestling with one hand, you got your revolver in your other hand, you're shooting one-handed and you're wrestling this person with a semi-auto, if
they're
it goes
not recoil operated.
That's it. If you have a malfunction, if it goes click or you get a failure to feed or it jams, you don't have your other hand to work it with a semi-auto. With a revolver, you do the very natural thing, which is pull the trigger again and put a fresh round underneath the hammer.
Yes, sir. And so we know, again, close quarters, that malfunctions with semi-autos in actual confrontations are much more common than they are on the range because, again, conditions are far less than perfect.
Interesting. And, I know what you're talking about because when you talk with really experienced people, either people who've been in law enforcement a long time, or, frankly, people who've been teaching this stuff a long time, and it's kind of one of those deals you've seen most of the thing. Everybody's seen everything, you've seen most of it. I find, and I don't care if you're talking about instructors at Gunsight or wherever they are, there's a pretty good chance that there's a revolver on them somewhere.
Oh, for sure. It's like a good habit to carry a backup, right? A spare tire. And the cool thing, again, about revolvers is I can have like a J-frame on the ankle or on my support side, a K-frame a little bit larger on my strong side, and maybe another one hid here or there, right? But I can carry ammunition that will fit every one of those. Plus, if I throw a lever gun in there, a Marlin 357, you've got a commonality. I'm a big fan of commonality.
Right.
It simplifies life.
And it's funny. It's interesting because, I often, particularly, I don't know why it is, but when I go up to the mountains, I almost always am wearing a 7-shot, 3-inch barrel, 357 Magnum loaded with hard-cast lead bullets for the four-legged kinds of predators.
Right.
And I look at it and go, I feel perfectly comfortable shooting and hitting something at 50 and probably, honestly, even 100 yards.
Oh, no doubt.
With that. And I'm thinking, well, if that's the case, and you can carry this concealed because you always got a cover garment, why wouldn't you do this all the time?
Well, when I'm not teaching now and I have to carry semi-autos, I'm carrying revolvers, sir. And, one of the objections that people immediately come up with is, well, ammo capacity.
Right.
But, again, we're firing a more effective round. And if you look at self-defense shootings, the number of shots you see most often are like 3, 4, maybe 5 shots. But when you look at a 357 compared to 945, that kind of stuff, it's like 1.5 shots fired.
And the other thing is, if you train, you can actually reload a revolver pretty quickly if you work at it. It's not a case of when it's empty, it's empty. Or in your case, you just go to the other revolver you got.
Right, the New York Reload, right?
Yeah, we love that, the New York Reload. Hey, Tiger, hold on a second here. I can take a quick break. We're talking with Tiger McKee from Shootrite Firearms Academy. That's Shootrite, Shootrite, shootrite.org. Be right back.
FN, the world's most battle-proven firearms. You want to reach for history, for greatness. So reach for the FN57, a 5.7 millimeter pistol built with the DNA of over a century of legendary FN firearms. And now, it's within reach at your local firearms dealer. The FN57 is the perfect combination of accuracy and stopping power. FN, the world's most battle-proven firearms.
The Armed Citizen Legal Defense Network is a big family of gun owners standing together to protect individual members from unmeritorious prosecution after an act of self-defense. Our network family now exceeds 17,000 members protected by a $2 million legal defense fund. Shouldn't you be part of the network too? Join the family at armedcitizensnetwork.org. That's armedcitizensnetwork.org or call 360-978-5200.
Perhaps more than any other landscape, wetlands embody the life-giving abundance that nature has to offer. And perhaps more than any other organization, Ducks Unlimited is working to ensure that our continent's wetlands not only survive, but thrive for generations well beyond this one. The time is now to band together. The time is now to rescue our wetlands.
Hi, this is Ryan Gresham with Gun Talk. Have you ever heard about a gun giveaway and thought, I can't win that stuff. I live in a state where I can't own it. Well, visit guntalk.com/win to enter the Legal Everywhere giveaway presented by Timney Triggers. One grand prize with more than $7,300 in prizes, including 2 handguns, triggers, holster packages, tactical gear, optics, and more. Residents of all 50 states can enter. That's right, California, Massachusetts, Maryland, those 5 counties in Illinois, everyone. Prizes from Axion Optics, Colt, Crossbreed Holsters, DeSantis, Proper, Timney Triggers, and Walther. Enter now through November 1st at guntalk.com/win. That's guntalk.com/win.
Brownells.com is your home for all things firearms. Looking for a retro rifle? How about the BRN 180 or 180S? Named one of SHOT Show's best products of 2019. Visit Brownells.com for guns, ammo, reloading equipment, or anything you need to customize your firearm. And enjoy the industry's only guaranteed forever satisfaction policy. To stay up to date with the latest and best deals from Brownells, text BRN to 556-223.
We're talking with Tiger McKee from Shootrite Firearms Academy. Tiger, you say that you are actually kind of toning down or cutting back a little bit on your instruction, but you're still going to be doing firearms instruction, right?
Oh, definitely. I'm just, we got rid of, when we moved out here, we bought a bunch of land because I wanted a lot of insulation.
Mm-hmm.
So what we done was just sold off part of our property, and I'm going to build a smaller range, and I'll be teaching in like the spring and fall when the weather is really good. And I'm going to concentrate more on the private instruction versus the scheduled group classes, because I really like the tutorials where I can individually, touch base with the students, and like I can go, okay, what do you do for work, or what are your hobbies? And then that helps me relate what we're doing to something that they already know. It's just a lot more intimate, and they make a lot more progress.
Yeah, the other thing is there's a huge benefit to having a husband and wife come in there and train together, isn't there?
Oh, definitely. And we call it team tactics, not to be confused with like SWAT team tactics. These are just, if you really think about them, it's all common sense, right? Move, communicate, use cover, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But when you start doing it with a partner, it gives you exponential advantages, right, over the threat or the problem. But it does get a little more complex because communication is mandatory. You have to both know sort of what you're going to do. So if somebody says, move to that cover on the right, okay, here's what we're doing, how we need to do it, and we're doing it as a team.
It's more having two people who know how to work together and have trained. It's more than twice as effective. I would call it generally it's like 5 times as effective as having one person.
No doubt. It's a huge advantage, even if it's just something like having an extra set of eyes, right, to be checking out what's going on and what's available to go to.
That's a good point. The second person doesn't need to be carrying a gun to be able to benefit from the training.
Right, yes, sir. Anybody of age and up to their capabilities and that kind of stuff should be participating in your family's emergency plan, whether it's tornadoes, fire, or like a violent threat trying to do harm. The more participation you can get, the smoother things go. And you have a plan. It works out a lot better than just going, oh, my gosh, this is happening to us now. What do we need to do?
Right. When people say, well, you don't know what you're going to do. And I say, well, you're right. If you don't have any training, you don't know what you're going to do. But if you have training, you actually do know almost exactly what you're going to do in that situation because you've gone over it so many times.
Well, and it has to be, training is just part of the equation. And what I stress to students is then it requires practice, repetition.
Yes.
You're not really going to learn everything in the class. You're going to learn what you need to do, but then you have to practice it, make it yours, and learn, okay, here's how I'm going to do this.
Okay, I'm going to switch on you now. I'm going to put your instructor eyes on my holster that I'm wearing at the moment and have you diagnose what's going on here. I just bought a new holster for my P365. I actually bought it from your buddy at aholsters.com. Really good holsters, okay? I got the belt holster, not the inside the waistband holster, put it on, and I was practicing some draws this morning, and I had something interesting that popped up. And that is with this holster, and I've always carried IWB. With this holster, when I draw and come out, the gun is actually pointed slightly to my left, right-handed draw, as I come up. And what I figured out, and helped me with this, is that because the pistol is angled slightly away from my body, when I grab it and get my grip on it, the grip is not exactly correct to get it all lined up. But if I angle my elbow out away from my body ever so slightly, when I get my grip, when the gun comes out, it is lined up exactly right. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, it's the small details that sometimes make a big difference, just the angle of the pistol or something. But the good thing is what a proper grip is, what it should feel like, and how the pistol should be positioned in your hand through training and practice, right? So when you do change some small something like that, then you go, okay, here's what I need to do to modify to make this work for me.
Oh, that's a good point, because if you didn't know what a good grip was, and you didn't know that when you draw and come out on target, everything should be lined up. You should not have to make an adjustment to put the sights on target. It just should point in. If you didn't know that, then you wouldn't say, oh, there's a little thing I need to do. And now what I have to do with this rig, and by the way, I am quickly becoming a fan of outside the waistband holsters, just more comfortable and easier to deal with.
Well, and if you get the properly designed holster, like Allen A holster, man, when it comes to Kydex, that's whose stuff I use. It's just as concealable and a lot of times a little more comfortable.
I agree. And then just so that you know, and I've been buying Allen stuff. I don't contact and ask him for any price off. I just buy it off the website. I pay retail for it. And I do that because I learned about his stuff when I was working with you at your range and looking at your holster and going, that's a pretty cool holster. And, you know, the guy, he's one of these, and there are these guys who just have a relatively small shop, and they're just making really good products. And he's one of those guys.
And that's the kind of people I love to support, right?
Oh,
and then he also took the time and paid his own money to come here and do some classes. And I didn't even know what he did till after the second or so class. And then he's like, you know, I'm working on these holsters. Can I get your input on them? So that shows a sign of somebody that's trying to get something right.
Tiger, we're always out of time whenever we talk. We got to do it again. I just want to let people know you are still doing your instruction. You also are making knives. You're also doing a lot of interesting things. They can find out about all of it at your website, right? Shootrite.org?
Yes, sir. And we're about to put up the new announcements. Like we just announced this real recent, right?
Right.
So the website will have information in the next week or two on what all's going on.
Sounds good. Shootrite is SHOOTRITE.org. Please tell Gretchen hello for me. I know that you keep saying she's mean as a snake, but she is just like the sweetest lady ever.
She truly is. I'll do it, sir.
All right. Take care. This is my friend, Tiger McKee. You talk about a good instructor. I've sent a number of people to him. They all come away and going, wow, were you ever right? He is the real deal. All right, 866-TALK-GUN is open lines. What have you been shooting? What have you been buying? What's going on? 866-TALK-GUN.
Good morning, Mr. Gresham. Your mission, should you decide to accept it, is to host a radio show that will bring truth and common sense to the discussion of firearms rights in this country. Good luck, Tom, to you and your Tom Gresham's Gun Talk team.
We have so much to talk about. I'm glad that you were with us this evening. Tom Gresham here, 866-TALK-GUN. We'll get you in here. Looking at a whole list of things that we have to talk about. Let's see, we have some good True Squad reports coming up. You know the True Squad. That's our, well, it's you, basically. It's the men and women who decide that we're not just going to shrug and take it anymore when people lie about guns or when they put up the no gun signs. We're not just going to go, well, that's just the way it is. No, we're going to say something about it. Speak up. What do I say? Stand up, speak up, show up. We'll have a good report on somebody who did exactly that. We also, wow, there are some crazy deals out there. A new one that just popped up this last week. An amazing self-defense pistol for under $200. I mean, just like, holy cow, crazy times. We'll be talking about that. Also taking, of course, your calls, comments, range reports, or if you just have questions. If you're thinking, I don't know about this thing, tell me about it. I'm happy to try to help. Sometimes I know the answers. Sometimes I make them up. It's your job to figure out which is which. Not really. I'll tell you if I don't know the answer, really. Hey, Benny's on line 4 out of Corpus Christi, Texas. Hey, Benny, what's on your mind, sir? Hey, Benny, you there? Okay, Benny went to get a sandwich. Maybe he'll come back in just a second. We'll try him again. It was interesting. We just had Tiger McKee on from Shootrite. And he was talking about he's carrying revolvers these days for self-defense. And this is the 1911 guy. And it's interesting because I've been talking about it. I've been carrying a 7-shot 357 part of the time. A lot of times I'm carrying 9mm. But I like the revolvers. Yeah, I'm old, but that doesn't mean I'm old. It just means I look at things and try to analyze it. And he had some good points there. Yes, you are shorter on ammo. Yes, it takes more time to reload a revolver, without a doubt. On the other hand, there are some benefits to revolvers that I like. I like the way they feel. I like good holsters, and I am kind of, not completely, because there's no one solution for everything, but I am kind of moving to, and certainly trying out outside the waistband holsters with a cover garment, and a lot of times just a shirt tail pulled out can cover it. Today I'm looking down here. I've got 365 on today with this holster from A Holsters. Alan over at aholsters.com, not an advertiser. He didn't know me from Adam. I'm just a guy that buy stuff there. It's kind of like when I bought some stuff from Lobo Gun Leather. I talked about it here. I just like their stuff. I found them and said, hell, try those guys. Really nice leather holsters. There are a bunch of good holster makers out there, and a lot of them are, of course, the big companies that you know, and we've worked with a lot of them and talk about those. But there are some small operations, people doing it in their garage, in a shop. Really cool stuff. So I like doing that. I kind of like when Tiger said, carrying a revolver in a 38 or 357, then you could have a lever action in the same caliber. Now you got one caliber for everything. Tell you what, let's run back to Benny. He's gotten a sandwich. He's come back on line 4. Hey, Benny, how are you, sir?
Hi, Tom. That was a great sandwich. Thank you for holding.
You bet. Anything we can do for you. What's up?
Well, I got a bit of a problem, and I hope that you can straighten me out on it. You and Tiger touched on it a moment ago with my holster and my grip.
Uh-huh.
I've got a fantastic holster from Crossbreed called The Reckoning, and I carry Appendix.
Okay.
And I noticed at the range this morning, once again, when I reach for it, I can't get the web of my thumb all the way up underneath where there would be a tang. I've got the Smith & Wesson 2.0 with a 3.6-inch barrel in that holster.
Right.
And a 17-round magazine. Okay. So you would think I'd be able to get all my fingers around it. But I don't know. I'm not able to. I don't know what it is that's preventing me from being able to get the tang.
Okay, I have a thought or two.
Webbing.
I have a thought or two, and maybe a question for you. Okay. Thinking here. In order to be able to get what you're trying to do is get the web of your hand as high as you can up underneath the beaver tail, and that would be a proper grip. I understand that. And if it's anything less than that, then it's an improper grip or a less than perfect grip. I'm wondering two things. One, some crossbreed holsters, I don't know about this one, have a piece of leather that comes up along the side of the pistol, which on the inside, almost like a sweat guard. If you have that, that might be a factor in being able to get a good grip. It does have that.
Yes, it does.
Try doing it slowly and just see if you think that that's part of the issue. The other thing may be, it's going to sound a little odd, but it may be the cant of the pistol. If the muzzle, are you shooting right-handed?
I am.
Okay. Imagine this. If the muzzle of the pistol is canted more to the right, it's going to bring the grip forward and make the top of the grip, or actually in this case the bottom of the grip, higher. And it's going to mean you're going to have to actually cock your wrist over when you come down on the pistol. You may not get a great grip. If that muzzle of the pistol were to move to the left for you, it's going to rotate the pistol around. So now the bottom of the grip gets lower and lower as the muzzle moves left, and you change the cant of the holster. I think by doing that, when your hand goes down and gets a good grip on it, you're going to be able to get a better grip.
That sounds like that might do it, because what I'm having to do is come in straight down. I carried it about the 1230 position.
Exactly.
In Appendix, and so I'm having to come straight down on top of it. And
I think it's the cant also, as much as I wouldn't start trimming anything away from the holster. Try just, and I'm pretty sure if I remember right, that is adjustable for cant.
It is. Yes, sir.
Tinker with that a little bit. see if it, and play with it with an unloaded gun, please, 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 and really work with it and go as extreme as you can. Make that cant go all the way to one side and see if that gets you where you want to go. And then you may say, well, that's a little bit too much. That's okay. Then you could adjust it back. But I honestly think that's probably the source of the problem here.
Outstanding. Well, thank you, Tom.
Well, I hope that works for you. I tell you what, after you try it, give us a report back. Let us know how it works out. Okay, Benny?
I've already got my screwdriver in hand.
Okay, sounds good. All right, 866-TALK-GUN. If you have an idea of what is going on with Benny, maybe you're thinking, oh, Tom, you missed it. You missed what was going on there. Well, I often do. Give me a call. Let me know what's going on. 866-TALK-GUN.
This is Jeff with Black Hills Ammunition. Our Honey Badger line now features a new 40 Smith & Wesson caliber loading. Gelatin testing shows that this round outperforms conventional hollow points, not only in terms of velocity, penetration, and weight retention, but it also provides superior temporary cavities. The profile and solid copper construction assure flawless feeding. This is the latest technology in handgun performance. Black Hills Ammunition, the power of performance.
Mental health and guns. At Walk the Talk America, we are working with both the mental health community and the gun industry. Created by a gun industry veteran, Walk the Talk America seeks to raise awareness and create change through suicide prevention and firearm safety without legislation. We strive to eliminate the prejudice that firearms and mental health face. For more information and to support Walk the Talk America, please visit walkthetalkamerica.org.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
When the U.S. military's elite units and law enforcement agencies across the globe demanded innovation and reliability, they didn't settle. They chose Sig Sauer. When world champion professional shooters demanded precision accuracy, they didn't settle. They chose Sig Sauer. So it's no surprise more and more civilian gun owners are refusing to settle for anything less. They're choosing Sig Sauer firearms, ammunition, electro-optics, suppressors, air guns, and training. Sig Sauer. Never settle.
Hey, when do you want to spot that burglar? When he's casing your home or after he's already in? Ask John, whose Blink camera alerted him of burglars trying to break in while he and his family were home. Or Shannon, whose Blink camera caught a thief stealing packages. Both times, Blink video clips were sent to the police to help convict the crooks. Blink motion-activated indoor and outdoor cameras are wire-free, set up in minutes, and run on 2 lithium batteries that last up to 2 years. And when you're away, Blink's live feed option lets you monitor your home and check in on kids and pets from anywhere using your Blink smartphone app. No contracts, totally affordable. In fact, Blink's systems start at just $79.99. Thanks to Blink, home security just got easier. Visit blinkprotect.com/gun-talk. blinkprotect.com/gun-talk. Also available on Amazon and other fine retailers. Blink is an Amazon company, and it works with Alexa. 866-TALK-GUN, get you in here. Patrick is called in, line 3, out of Kansas City, Kansas. Hey, Patrick, you're on Gun Talk. What you got there?
Well, on your advice, I fell on the sword, and I'm matching my Ruger SP101 327. I went and bought the Henry 327 lever action.
Oh, I know you made Michelle happy when you told her that.
She started giggling.
For those who don't know, Michelle is our call screener, but also our after-show star, and she is the matron mistress, the queen, if you will, the queen of the 327 Federal cartridge. So, all right. So tell me how it's going. Have you shot the rifle?
Not yet. That'll be this next week. I had the revolver for year and a half, maybe 2 years, and it's just a really sweet, fast, nice, and stainless 4-inch, and with minimal recoil. And I was like, kind of tailoring into what Tiger had said. I was like, well, if I've got the revolver, why not have the lever action?
Sure.
And so I said, well, why not? And so it'd been sitting at the gun store, just kind of in a corner, and I went in and looked. It's still been there, and I went in, and somebody was looking at it, and I just told them, I said, I'll take it.
Hey, put my gun down there. What are you doing with that rifle?
That's right. And once again, tailoring around to what Tiger said, this is a crazy thought, and most people think I am, but why not look at the Ruger? I'm going to sound like a used car salesman, but why not I've been considering actually looking at the Ruger in 9mm and revolver.
Yes, but if you're going to do that, why not stay with the 327 Federal cartridge?
Well, because we live in America and I can have both.
See, what I'm thinking is you got a 4-inch barrel revolver in 327. Now you get the LCR, the little light compact revolver.
Ooh, that would work.
You see where I'm going with this, right?
Oh, I like that. I like that idea.
Look, I am here to help you spend money. That is my only role in life here.
Sounds perfect.
All right.
Perfect.
Well, that is true. You know, the other thing is, you mentioned it's light recoil. For those who don't know, there are some really light loads. You can use the 32 Smith & Wesson long in there. But have you shot full house Magnum 327 Federal in your revolver?
Yes. I actually purchased the stand from Federal, and then I bought from Double Tap Ammo. I purchased 327 loads from them.
That's an honest Magnum cartridge, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, in fact, it is absolutely. In fact, it is exactly equal to the 357 Magnum cartridge when you get the Magnum loads, but you can shoot the little light loads, and in a small revolver, and not as loud, and you can shoot. You can get 6 rounds into a small revolver, which is pretty sweet too. Well, I'll tell you what. After you shoot your Henry, your rifle in 327, we need a range report. Okay?
We'll do it.
All right, I appreciate it. Excellent. Thank you, sir. John, line 1, Cedar City, Utah. John, Real Gun Control. What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking that when I take a weapon and I pick it up, I go to a target range, and I aim at that little red dot on that target, and I squeeze off that round, and that round hits that little red dot on that target. That is gun control.
Yeah.
And what the government wants is people control.
Well, the thing is, it's not even so much what the government wants. So let's put it where it belongs. It's not the government, it's the gun ban lobby. It's the gun ban people. And the government is just us. The government does, for the most part, what we the people tell them to do. And we have to meet that. I have some thoughts on that. And we're going to take a quick break here, but when we come back, I engaged in a conversation, a discussion, a debate, if you will, online with a guy who doesn't like guns, doesn't like gun owners. That became clear. He was trying to be very calm, very logical, except that everything he put out there was false. And I kept challenging it. I said, well, no, here's the actual data. Here's the FBI data. Here's the data from the CDC. Here's the data. And then, as always happens at the end, he was, well, you people, you basically saying you don't care if children die as long as you get to play with your toys. Once you challenge them and shut them down on facts, they turn around and attack you personally. And they really do think of us as monsters. I'll elaborate in just a second. Hey, Hey, before I forget, a quick Gun Talk Attaboy shout-out for in Louisiana, Sheriff Randy Seal, Washington Parish in Louisiana. Was just reelected. We had our election, the primary, and when you win more than 50% in the primary, it's over. You win. Sheriff Seal ran and won. He's been a Democrat, affiliated with the Democrat Party for many years. And right after he won, he switched his affiliation to the Republican Party. And he listed several reasons, but one of them was the Second Amendment. He said, I just can't go along with what's going on in Washington, D.C. and what the Democrats are doing, and the Democrats are against the Second Amendment. He says, I support the Second Amendment. So Sheriff Randy Seal, Washington Parish, Louisiana, a Gun Talk attaboy for you. Thanks, sir. All right, I mentioned earlier, I was in this conversation online with a fellow, and I went and looked, and he's got a law degree. In the conversation, he was trying to be careful, masking his feelings and putting out, and all of his links to support his pushes for gun control were to the Washington Post and the New York Times. And I finally said, look, tell you what, I won't post any links to Fox News if you don't post the links to the highly discredited New York Times, okay? But what I found was, as each one time you brought up a point, and I would say, well, here's the actual data. I know this is what you've been told. I know this is what you believe, but here's the data. And here's the infographic. I'm getting them all from gunfacts.info. Great source, by the way, if you want to be using the infographics they have there. Says, and I said, you know, when you say assault weapons, blah, 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 and I said, look, they're hardly ever used in crime. More people are killed with fists and feet. Here's the data. When you say that, you know, we're the only country in the world that has mass shootings, well, here's the actual data. Actually, you'll find us listed on the far right of the graph. It's the little bitty bar you can't actually see because it's so small compared to a number of other countries. And when you say, you know, it's like on and on and on. And finally, he just couldn't stand being shown to be wrong. And you get the comment, well, I suppose you offered thoughts and prayers after all of these shootings. That's their put down of, you are heartless, you don't care if children are murdered, as long as you get to play with your toys. I've actually had them say exactly that. And this guy says, you know, well, repeat after me. I don't care if people die as long as I get to shoot my guns. And that's when you say, okay, now we're getting there. Because it eventually always devolves into that. What I find is that the gun rights people, like us, when we disagree with somebody, we generally just say, look, we assume that you don't know, that you are mistaken. And we try to present the information. We try to present the data. Here's what it really is. I know you've been told that semi-automatics are used, you know, like the majority of crimes. Here's the actual information. And you kind of assume that if we could bring you along, if we could show you the data, you would understand, and you would then agree with us. On the other side, they just assume we're stupid. But more than that, they assume that we're evil and that we're heartless and that we don't care if people die. And they then use that to paint us as the other. And when you can paint an entire group of people as the other, somewhat less than the general public, that's how you get genocides. That's how you get people being marched into trains. That's how you get internment camps. You can call it racism. You can call it bigotry. You can call it whatever you want. But throughout history, before you can do those types of things to an identifiable group of people, you have to make them be the other. And that's what this is really all about. They really do think of us as inferior, and we must either be educated or stamped out, or in the case of Beto, we'll send people door to door to take your guns, and if you won't give them up, we'll just kill you. That's, frankly, you know what? They're okay with that. We'll be right back.